was just a missing. I am just a missing. It's election time, South Africa. So, media, get your A game on. No more of this. Or this. And especially none of this. Take it easy, Tebow Touch. She's a national treasure, not a national key point. We're voting on the 8th of May. We need our media to be as sharp as Floyd isn't. As a country, we might not grasp electricity or AIDS prevention or suit measurements, but the one thing you can't fault us on is the quality of our lying. Our politicians are top shelf, super premium, Woolies export quality liars.
There will never be load shedding again.
He usually lies.
And the only way we know they're lying is the media, which is why our politicians hate journalists even more than they love corruption.
No journalist has asked Praveen that question.
When I look at the media, there's so much bias.
Informed by headline news with white-censored media.
South Africa, we don't trust the media because for a long time the media was apartheid's marketing plan. SABC was to apartheid what sweeties are to pedophiles.
And this type of stuff eventually evolved into letters that I would drop on the press, locally and internationally, that Winnie was a hopeless drunkard.
The whole operation was designed to spread false news about her, with the hope of discrediting the entire ANC.
During apartheid, we didn't have media, we just had lies. Stratcom, SABC and Naspers created a matrix for white people, plugged in and privileged. Naspers has been around since 1915. The Land Act was 1913, because once people had the land, they wanted to read about it. Afrikaans mainstream media told state-sponsored fake news for a century. Naspers spent more time telling lies than white people spend raising their own freaking kids. Independent media took a stand against apartheid. If apartheid was Thanos, the independent media was one of the Avengers, but not one of the cool ones. They were like, Hawkeye. How is that guy even an Avenger? He's Thanos, and you're armed with a prop from the freaking spur. People were jailed and oppressed for telling the truth during apartheid. They were treated like a dictionary at Bonang's house. So the fall of apartheid was a victory for journalists and for South Africa.
It was a story that everyone wanted to tell. Apartheid South Africa's transition to a free nation.
It was a great time. Madiba was president. Generations was on TV, and nobody knew who the hell this guy was. South Africa was like Caitlyn Jenner, a mix of white privilege and new access to public bathrooms. The media had to grow up fast, though. Can you imagine fighting to get Zuma out of jail and then fighting to get him back in jail? I mean, I'd like to tell you things changed, but they didn't.
Some 30 media companies are being investigated by the Commission for Anti-Competitive Behavior. Various ones have settled so far, including DSTV, Independent Media and Media 24.
Naspers, MultiChoice, and for Voet24, you're a mouthpiece of the apartheid state, and now we must pretend that everything's okay? Just because you gave us Drum magazine? Oh, you're not fooling anyone. CakeNet is the Afrikaans ANN7. So luckily, we have the SABC. It's like Derek Watts. It's informative, and we've been watching it since apartheid. 18 radio stations, 2 TV channels. I know SABC3 isn't a TV channel. It's just top billing with ads. Top billing, or as poor people like to call it, you'll never have. SABC is the way most South Africans get their news, like WhatsApp with bunny aerials. And most importantly, it's what's keeping DJ Fresh out of an old age home. The problem is that they forgot that the entertainment was meant to be on the screens and not in the boardroom.
Are you still the CEO, ATCO?
Of course.
He's overpaid and underqualified, abuses his power, and knowingly falsified his qualifications.
At the SABC, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire wasn't a TV show, it was a management strategy.
The SABC forecasts a net loss of 568 million rand this year.
Political interference and bad management have pushed the SABC to the edge of collapse. And if the SABC collapses, we will be forced with something we all fear. another DJ Fresh House album.
But now you can see some of the employees of the SABC here in Auckland Park. 1,000 permanent staff will be retrenched in the SABC.
We're at the risk of losing our state broadcaster and 1,000 jobs, including Rich and Brooke Forrester. And now, let me lose my own job. ETV and ENCA were also meant to bring diversity to the media space. But being a white puppet with a white guy's hand in my ass, it's hard not to feel like I'm a DA puppet also. But with Remgro and union-connected ownership, I'm actually a puppet of white monopoly socialists.
Amandala!
That's why, in 2013, we were all super excited to finally get a real change in the media space. A wholly black-owned media company. Africa News Network 8 and 7. It turned out the 7 in 8 and 7 was actually how much they were paying their journalists.
Why I quit AN7 was because I did not agree with the environment of fear where there was an attack on editorial integrity every single day, where everything was micromanaged by the greedy owners whose only intention was to try and get revenues from the various state departments and ministries.
It turns out that the Guptas were using their new TV channel, their newspaper, and even an overseas PR company to further state capture. You can hijack a train, you can hijack a plane, but I've never heard of anyone hijacking an entire freaking revolution. Drive it like you stole it, Ajay, because you're freaking dead. And it's not like our politicians have a good relationship with the media before this.
If you've got a tendency of undermining blacks even where you work, you are in the wrong place. Yeah, you are in the wrong place. And you can go out.
Why do so many South Africans not trust the media? Well, it's because they got the news from this guy. I mean, even his hair looks fake. Rian Kreyvagen was at the SABC so long, I think he was a voortrekker. So if you're a politician with something to hide, then telling everyone we shouldn't trust the media is a really good idea.
We're not answering any question from Tiso Black Stars, Daily Maverick, and Scorpios, and ETV.
What is your beef with the media?
Well, I'm here, and we had threatened not to talk to you again.
Our politicians are like addicts, and the media is their drug. ENCA is like cocaine because it's expensive. SABC is like Nyape because you can get it everywhere. And the Sunday Times is like acid because they make up. And it doesn't help that everyone with a Twitter account is now a news source.
I could put out a tweet now that could say anything, and it, who would determine if it's true? That's why journalism matters, because we rely on them nowadays to be able to say this is the story, it's in context, and we can verify that it's reasonably true.
The media does have watchdogs who make sure that we're not just lying to you. The problem is that Floyd Shivambu thinks it's him. So, South Africa, from all journalists...
Touch me on my studio.
You touched me.
Touch me on my studio. Touch me on my studio.
You touched me.
See you after the break.